Your knees wiggled uneasily under the blanket, the fabric twisting as you shifted. Your fingers brushed against your tired eyes, and a long yawn slipped from your lips. Slowly, your lashes fluttered open, but the second your gaze adjusted to the room, you wished desperately that you were still asleep. At least in sleep, you had been unaware. At least in sleep, you hadn't remembered. But reality hit you hard. Your body stiffened, a wrecked panic crawling back from the corner of your chest. Memories from before returned in fragments. The man, the gun, the way his voice had sounded when he threatened you. Each cruel sentence replayed inside your mind. And then, something else caught your attention. A strange heaviness brushed against your skin. Your breath hitched as your hand moved over the fabric. These weren't your clothes. Yin, my clothes. A sick feeling coiled in your stomach. Fear clawed at you. Had he done something? Did he touch you? Did he use you while you were unconscious? Your palm pressed flat against your stomach, then lower, desperate to feel for pain, for any sign that something had happened. But there was none. Relief washed over you in a weak sigh, but it was only a small drop in the storm. You needed to get out. That was all you knew. You had no phone, no way to reach home, no way to contact your team. You were trapped, and then, your heart nearly stopped. Footsteps. They echoed down the hallway, growing closer and closer. Your blood ran cold because you recognized that sound instantly. It was the same rhythm of steps you had heard in the basement, the same heavy boots, the same man. Your entire body turned to ice. Yin. Oh my God, no, God, please, no. The footsteps stopped right outside your door. A sharp creak followed as the door handle turned, and the sight at the threshold stole every ounce of breath from your lungs. Yes, it was him, the man. The same piercing eyes, the same dangerous presence. He stepped in casually, shutting the door behind him as though he owned the air you were breathing. You couldn't speak. Your lips parted, but no sound came. Your wide eyes locked on him in a terrified stare. Jungkook, how are you feeling now? You didn't answer. You couldn't. Your throat tightened as your eyes darted down to the oversized clothes on your body, then back up at him. Yin, where are my clothes? He walked toward the bed, unhurried, and sat on the edge. The movement made you instantly react. You pulled your feet up, curling yourself into a tight ball as far from him as you could manage. Of course, he noticed everything. Jungkook, don't worry, he said calmly, leaning forward slightly. I didn't change them. It was one of the house helpers. He paused, and a faint smirk tugged at his lips as he added, she was an old lady. The words were supposed to reassure you, but they didn't. Not when he leaned back on the edge of the bed with effortless confidence, supporting his weight with his hands, his eyes locked on you. That stare was intense. It made your fingers shake against your knees. He wasn't even trying to scare you, and still, your chest felt like it was caving in. But you weren't going to stay quiet. Not this time. Yin, who even are you? You whispered, your voice thin but edged with desperation. Please, just tell me when I'm going home. Your tone cracked at the end. You had tried sounding calm before. You had tried being tough, but nothing worked. Your voice finally betrayed the truth. You were begging, I really want to go home. I have a show in a few days. Your words rushed out as you tried to form an excuse. Yin, if it's money you want, I can give it to you. You'll get it. I promise. Just let me go. He tilted his head, and then, that smirk, that wicked curve of his lips that made your stomach turn violently. Jungkook, and what if I want you? He tilted his head, and then, that smirk, that wicked curve of his lips that made your stomach turn violently. Your blood ran cold. Your stomach churned violently, and you shook your head again and again. Yin, I don't understand, you stuttered. Why me? I have nothing to give you. You frowned when he suddenly let out a lazy yawn, stretching his body as though nothing in the world bothered him. Slowly, he lay back on the bed, his head turning toward you, his elbow bent, propping him up in a half-reclined position, and he stared at you with half-lidded eyes that made him look almost drunk. And maybe he was, because the things he was doing weren't normal, weren't human. Your breath hitched when his arm suddenly slid under your blanket. Yin, what are you doing? You gasped, your body jerking back as you tried to escape his reach, but his long fingers closed tightly around your right ankle. With one swift pull, he yanked your foot out from under the blanket, the sudden motion dragging a scream out of your throat. You, let me go, you cried, trying to tug your leg back. But he didn't listen. His grip didn't loosen. Instead, his thumb pressed into your skin as if testing how delicate you were. Jungkook's lips curled into a dangerous smirk as his voice dropped low. Jungkook, you know what I want from you, he whispered. You froze, your eyes wide. His thumb moved slowly against your skin, stroking the bone of your ankle. His fingers traveled lazily over the soft arch of your foot, drawing invisible patterns that made shivers crawl up your legs and into your thighs. You squeezed your eyes shut, refusing to react, refusing to give him the satisfaction. Jungkook, I want to put my gun right in the middle of your soft, he murmured. His gaze dropped down your body as he spoke, devouring you with his eyes. Jungkook, I'll hold them in my hands, caress them, play with them, until I've had my fill. Your stomach twisted violently, and then, his smirk deepened, his tone almost playful. Your entire body went numb, the blood drained from your face, leaving you pale and trembling. Goosebumps raced across your skin. You felt sick, so sick you thought you might throw up. You felt sick, disgusted, violated by just his words. So this was what he wanted, to kill you like that? But as your terrified eyes met his, instead of silence, instead of cruelty, he laughed, a deep, sharp laugh that echoed through the room. It wasn't the laugh of a man who was joking, it was the laugh of someone enjoying your fear. His chest shook, his eyes glinting with amusement, and you felt smaller, weaker, as though your terror was his greatest entertainment. Jungkook, oh, how I love seeing you like this, sweetheart, he drawled, tilting his head. You flinched when his laughter finally faded, his voice dropping to a soft, cold whisper. Relax, darling, I'm just kidding. But your lungs didn't believe him, your heart didn't believe him, and then, with a chilling calm, he added, I won't kill you that easily. Where's the fun in that? Your anger burned through the fear. You couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears filled your eyes as your voice broke into a scream. Yin, why do you want to kill me? What have I ever done to you? You wanted answers. You wanted the truth, but he only stared at you. He opened his mouth, but before a single word left his lips, a knock echoed from the door. Jungkook's sharp gaze flicked immediately toward it, his grip still firm on your ankle. You, however, didn't look away from him. Your eyes, still wet with tears, stayed locked on his face. Jungkook, come in, he ordered. The door creaked open, and an old lady stepped inside, balancing a tray of food in her trembling hands. She bowed slightly, her steps small and cautious as she approached. Her eyes widened just a little. There you were, curled up in the bed, your leg trapped in his grasp, your body trembling with fear. And there he was, leaning back casually against the mattress, his hand wrapped around your foot as if it belonged to him. The old lady's throat bobbed nervously. Her eyes softened when they met yours, pity flashing for just a second. But she looked away quickly when Jungkook's piercing gaze shot to her. His glare was enough to make her flinch. I'll take my leave. Call me if you need anything else, young master. She walked out as quickly as she could without looking back, the door closing softly behind her. Jungkook's heavy eyes drifted toward the tray of food. With a slow sigh, he pushed himself up to sit properly. His movements were sluggish, his body begging for rest. He hadn't slept the entire night, and now, the alcohol in his system was pulling him deeper into exhaustion. His jaw flexed as if fighting to stay awake. Jungkook, all right, he muttered, his voice rough. Let's eat, hum? Your eyes widened at the calmness in his tone, but your head immediately shook. You turned your face away, clutching the blanket tightly around yourself. Yin, please, listen. Your voice cracked, breaking into sobs. I don't know what I've done wrong to deserve this. Why? Why do you want my life? No, this isn't right. You pulled your feet back under the blanket like a frightened child, curling into yourself. Yin, look please, listen, you whispered. Jungkook's sharp gaze snapped to you, his expression tightening. Enough now, his words cut in like a command. His hand raked through his messy dark hair, tugging at the strands in frustration before he grabbed the tray and set it directly in front of you. He forced himself to maintain his composure. Your lips quivered as you watched him scoop up a bite. When he raised the spoon toward you, your head turned away instantly, the tears flowing harder down your cheeks. Yin, send me home, you begged. Please, I don't feel good here, please. His chest burned at your words, but he forced himself to stay hard, to keep his mask on, yet deep down, his drunk mind was slipping, melting, betraying him. He wasn't in his right state, not anymore. He set the spoon down with a soft clink and leaned closer, his large frame moving toward you. You instinctively flinched back into the headboard. Yin, move away please, don't come near me. But he didn't listen. His dark eyes locked on yours, his hand lifted slowly, almost too gently, until his callous palm cupped your face. His thumb brushed your wet cheeks, gently wiping away your tears. But instead of comfort, the touch made your skin crawl. He smelled strongly of alcohol, the bitter scent invading your nose. Jungkook, all right, whatever I said before, I'm sorry. Please, just eat your food. You need to eat if you want to take your medicines. Your throat tightened as you shook your head. Yes, you were starving, your stomach growling painfully, but the fear kept you rooted. But Jungkook didn't back down. His hand reached for the spoon again. He scooped up another bite and leaned closer. Jungkook, come on, be a good girl now. You shoved his hand away forcefully, the spoon clattering against the tray. Tell me the reason. You screamed. Tell me why you want my life. Why? His eyes softened, lingered on your trembling lips, fractionally at your fear and anger, but only for a moment. He pressed his thumb gently over your cheek again, wiping away more tears, then slid his fingers into your tangled hair, stroking softly as if to calm you. Jungkook, you gotta fill that tummy first. He shifted the conversation. His eyes flicked down to your face, catching the way your nose was red, sniffles escaping between sobs. Without hesitation, his thumb brushed over your nose, wiping it clean like you were too fragile to do it yourself. Jungkook, all right, he said suddenly, let me take a bite first, so you'll know it's safe. Before you could protest, he lifted the spoon and placed it in his own mouth, chewing slowly. He leaned closer, his eyes fixed on yours as he spoke around the taste. See, no poison. You gulped, still refusing to listen, still trembling from the tension in your chest. But that only made him sigh deeply, his patience fraying. Being gentle wasn't working. He needed to scare you into obedience. Jungkook, we don't have all day. Sweetheart, open your mouth, or I might use it for a better purpose. One you definitely won't enjoy. Your eyes widened instantly, the double meaning crystal clear. Your stomach churned violently, and your throat went dry. You tried to resist, pressing your teeth together, but you knew you had no choice. Slowly, trembling, you parted your lips. Jungkook, now that's my lovely girl, he murmured, satisfaction softening his tone just enough to make you shiver. You rolled your eyes inside your head, exasperated and bewildered. What was even wrong with this man? The meal was finished, yet he hadn't moved. You were still sitting in the same position. But now the tension between you was unbearable. He was too close to present. His head rested lightly on your thighs, his warm breath brushing against your skin as he dozed. You wanted to push him away, your hands trembling as they hovered over him, but fear rooted you in place. He stirred slightly, nuzzling deeper into your lap, and your heart skipped a beat. This was the perfect chance to escape. The house was silent, and he was sound asleep. Carefully, you began shifting his head away from your lap. He didn't stir, not a twitch. Relief mingled with fear as you realized you could move, at least for a moment. Yin, please, God, help me, you whispered under your breath, barely moving your lips. Once his head was safely out of the way, you crept toward the edge of the bed, glancing around frantically for anything that could help you contact the outside world. No phone, no landline, nothing. Panic tugged at your chest. Your eyes scanned the room, then caught the window ajar. You moved closer, blinking at the sight. Outside was a garden bathed in moonlight, serene and peaceful. For a moment, you stopped, mesmerized by the calm, a stark contrast to your usual closed-off, suffocating life. But you couldn't linger. Your gaze darted downward. Jumping straight would mean certain death. Then, just as your hope began to waver, your eyes landed on a curtain lying at a distance, left there by the maids to be replaced. Your heart leapt. This could work. You crept toward it, careful not to disturb Jungkook, who continued snoring softly. Every nerve in your body screamed, but you focused, determined, gathering all your strength. You tied the curtains together, twisting and knotting them tightly. Then, holding your breath, you pushed them down to the balcony below. Yes, this could work. This had to work. It was your only chance. You felt the weight of every second, the fear, the adrenaline, and the flicker of hope burning fiercely inside you. Your eyes flicked to Jungkook one last time. He was still asleep, still oblivious, and now it was up to you. Jungkook's eyes snapped open with a sudden sharpness, the kind that came from instinct, not rest. His head rolled to the side, heavy from drink, but his mind registered one thing immediately. You weren't there. His chest rose and fell once before a low growl escaped his throat, dangerous and animal-like, vibrating through the silence of the room. His gaze landed on the window. The curtains, once neat, were now tied together, dangling out of the frame like a desperate rope. His jaw tightened, the muscles in his face twitching as the truth hit him. You tried to run. Jungkook, you're gone, Yin. His voice was calm but edged with venom. A cruel smirk tugged at his lips. Let me show you exactly who I am. He didn't rush. He didn't storm after you like a man panicked. No, his steps were slow, each one echoing with a promise that when he caught you, and he knew he would, you'd regret trying. The danger in his walk was worse than rage. He wasn't impatient. He was savoring the thought of your punishment. Minutes later, he sat in his living room like a king on a throne. The leather couch cradled his tall frame, one arm draped lazily across the backrest, the other curled around a glass of dark liquor. The bottle on the table was already half empty. He didn't have to say a word. His guards were already out there, hunting you down like wolves. He knew they wouldn't fail. He had trained them himself. Failure was never an option in his house. A sip burned down his throat when he heard it. Footsteps, struggling, a muffled noise at first, then louder, screams. Your screams. His lips curved slowly into a smirk. His chest vibrated with a low chuckle. But he didn't move. He didn't even turn his head. Instead, he leaned back deeper into the couch, swirling his glass with a casual tilt of his wrist. The massive doors banged open. Your voice ripped through the hall. Yin, let go of me. Leave me. You let go. Two of his men dragged you forward, one on each side. Their hands clamped around your arms as you kicked and fought. They stopped right beside Jungkook's couch, forcing you down in front of him. Still, he didn't look at you. You thrashed violently, your hair falling into your tear-streaked face, your wrists burning under their grip. Yin, why? Why are you doing this? What did I do to deserve this? Please, I just want to go home, please. I want to go home. Jungkook smirked against the rim of his glass, his eyes still on the wall ahead. He let your begging fill the air. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and smooth, like poison dripping from his tongue. Jungkook, home? He tilted the glass back, swallowing another mouthful before continuing. Jungkook, let me take you somewhere better than home, sweetheart. The casual way he said it made your stomach drop. Then he gave the order, like it was nothing more than an afterthought. Jungkook, lock her in the basement. Your eyes flew wide in horror, your chest caved in, and a shrill scream tore from your throat. Yin, no, no, please, please don't lock me there. Please, I'm sorry. I won't. Your voice cracked. But you didn't stop. You fought against the guards until your nails dug into your own skin, your throat burning from how loud you were screaming. Yin, I'll never try again. Please, please, no, no, no. Don't put me there, please. I'm begging you. But Jungkook didn't move. He didn't spare you a glance, not even once. His eyes locked on the liquor bottle in front of him. He wanted to finish his drink first. Only then would he deal with you. And as your cries echoed against the cold marble walls of the mansion, the maids standing in the hallway dared to peek. Their hands trembled as they clutched their aprons, their eyes wide at the sight of you being dragged away. They had seen his rage. They had seen blood spill under his command. But they had never seen him like this, calm, smirking, letting the screams go on without reaction. It was worse, much worse. Your fists were numb, your palms stinging, but still you hit the wooden door again and again. The sound of your knuckles pounding echoed through the room, louder than your broken cries. Your throat burned raw from screaming so much, but the silence on the other side told you no one was listening. Or worse, maybe they were listening, and they chose to ignore you. Your breath caught in hiccups between sobs. At last, your body gave out. You slid down against the door, your spine hitting the hard wood, your legs trembling as they folded beneath you. Yin, this is unfair. This is so unfair. Hot tears poured down your cheeks until they blurred your sight. Your nose was red, your cheeks blotchy, your whole face felt swollen. The salty taste of tears touched your lips as your shoulders quaked. Every second in this place was stealing the life out of you. Hope, the only thing keeping you alive, was being crushed with every failed escape. You had found one way, one chance, and even that was stolen. Now what was left? Then, click. The sound of the lock turning made your breath hitch. You froze, eyes widening, your whole body rigid. The door creaked open, and the sudden force made you fall back onto the floor. You scrambled up, heart hammering so loud it deafened your ears. But the figure standing in the doorway wasn't a guard. It was Jungkook. The air in the room seemed to thicken instantly. He didn't need to speak. His presence alone suffocated you. His tall frame leaned against the doorframe for just a second, eyes locked on you. Your legs trembled as you pushed yourself up, your whole body stiff with fear. Yin, I won't. I promise. I won't run again. His eyes, cold, hard, merciless, made your stomach twist painfully. There was no softness in them, no mercy. But when his eyes scanned your face and your body, you saw something dark flicker in them. Your cheeks had fresh marks, your arms were scratched all over, your t-shirt torn at the sides, dust and dirt clinging to your skin. Every bruise screamed the story of how far you had tried to run, and how badly you had failed. For a long second, he didn't say anything. He just stepped forward and grabbed your wrist with an iron grip, pulling you inside. His hand was so strong it burned against your skin. The stench of alcohol hit you so hard you nearly gagged. It clung to him, his breath, his clothes, his very skin. He slammed the door shut with his foot and dragged you into the center of the room before releasing you with a sharp jerk. Jungkook, you wanted to run, huh? His voice sounded hoarse from alcohol. You really thought it was that easy. You dropped to your knees, your tears spilling again as your palms pressed to the floor. Your whole body was trembling violently, fear gripping you from head to toe. Yin, please, no. I saw the window. I didn't think. Before you could finish, he crouched down to your level so quickly you flinched back. His face was inches away, and the alcohol in his breath made your stomach churn. Jungkook, yeah. Sure you didn't think. Your lips quivered as you tried to form words, your throat closing in panic. Yin, I just want to go home. Please, let me go home. His head tilted slowly, almost curiously. Before his fingers gripped your chin, his hold was firm, forcing your tear-stained face up toward him. His thumb pressed hard against your jaw, almost bruising. His lips curved into a cruel smirk. Jungkook, this is your home now, sweetheart. Try to run again and I'll make sure you never see daylight. I'll make sure the world forgets you ever existed. You're mine here. You're mine. He chuckled, but it wasn't humor. It was dark, twisted, the laugh of a man whose soul was drowned in cruelty and alcohol. Yin, at least tell me what I did. What do you want from me? He dropped your chin suddenly, his smirk vanishing into something harsher. His tongue brushed over his bottom lip as if he enjoyed your begging. Jungkook, I asked you one thing, Yin. One thing. What is your father's name? You opened your mouth, your lips trembling, but no sound came. The question itself stabbed at your chest, because you didn't know. How could you tell him something you had never known yourself? Jungkook's patience snapped. He shot up from the floor, the motion so sudden you flinched back. Heavy footsteps dragged him to the corner of the room where an old cabinet stood. He yanked the drawer open with brutal force, the wood shrieking against the hinges, and pulled out a stack of photographs. With one violent swing of his arm, he threw them to the ground. The photos scattered everywhere, sliding across the dusty floor. Men, women, bloodied faces, hollow eyes staring back from the glossy paper, victims of his own hand, his trophies. Jungkook, tell me who your father is, he thundered, kicking the pile so that the pictures flew closer to you. This one, huh? Or maybe this one. Look at them. Look at them. Your hands shot up to your ears, desperate to block out the sound of his voice. But it was useless. He was too loud, too vicious. The sound pierced straight through. Yin, I don't know, you sobbed, tears spilling down your face. Your chest hurt, your lungs refusing to pull in air. I really don't know. I've never seen them. I swear I haven't. Jungkook, how the don't you know? His roar shook the walls. He dragged both hands through his dark hair, gripping tight. His pupils were blown wide, his eyes bloodshot, his veins pulsing. You're lying. He spat, pacing the room like a wild animal. You're lying. Don't you dare lie to me. His laughter broke out suddenly, loud and jagged, filling the space with madness. It was the laugh of someone who had lost all control. Jungkook, you know what? His head jerking toward you, his lips curling back. I should just finish you right here, right now. I should put a bullet straight into your chest and end the game. His voice dropped, deep and venomous. Where's my gun? Your mouth fell open in horror. Your whole body froze, then began to shake violently as panic swarmed you. Your heartbeat drummed so painfully in your ears you almost couldn't hear your own voice. Yin, words failed. Your tongue heavy, your mind blank, desperately, your trembling fingers brushing over the photographs scattered in front of you. Please, you begged. You pressed your palms together, trembling so hard you could barely stay upright. I'll think. I'll try to remember. Just give me time. Please, I swear. I'll try. Jungkook stood above you. His eyes raked over your crumpled form, your tear-stained face, your shaking hands. For a split second, his expression faltered, like he was wrestling something inside his head. Then, with a guttural growl, he slapped his own face with the flat of his palm, hard enough to leave his cheek red. His other hand tugged his hair, his jaw locked tight. He was drunk, his body heavy with liquor, his mind spiraling out of control. He turned away, pacing to the door with uneven, dangerous steps. Without another word, he slammed it shut behind him so violently that the sound echoed like thunder, making you flinch hard. You dragged in a shaky breath, but your chest still burned, your body curled in on itself, your hands clutching your arms as sobs ripped from your throat. Yin, what in the world does he even want from me? Every time he spoke, every time he revealed even a fraction of his intentions, it was impossible to understand. He was too drunk every single time to tell you anything completely, leaving you terrified yet confused, trapped between fear and the desperate need for answers. You didn't know how long you could sit there, questioning, waiting, dreading the next time he would appear. You were still lying there, exhausted, your body pressed against the cold floor near the scattered photographs. Hours had passed, more than 3, and your eyes were heavy, your chest rising and falling as your breathing slowly returned to normal. The room was terrifying, but it wasn't as terrifying as being near him. Your mind raced despite the exhaustion. You tried to plan a way out, knowing that the chances of success were slim. Every exit seemed blocked, every idea impossible. And just as hopelessness began to settle in, a soft, deliberate click of the door echoed through the silent room. You froze, your heart skipped a beat, too tired to open your eyes, too scared to move. You stayed still, straining to listen. There were voices, not one, but 2. So this is the girl the boss brought, to pleasure himself. The first voice said, low and mocking. It made your stomach twist into knots. Yeah, she really is beautiful, the second voice replied. Footsteps moved closer. Each step sent a shiver down your spine. They weren't rushing, but they were silent, like predators approaching prey. Panic rose like acid in your throat. Your tired eyes fluttered open, barely peeking to see them. You saw 2 bulky men, their faces shadowed in the dim light. Before you could even react, strong hands gripped your arms. Panic turned into terror as the first man held you tight, pinning your hands in front of you. The second man crouched down, moving with precision and speed, wrapping ropes tightly around your legs, binding you firmly. Yin, hey, who are you? Let me go. What are you? You tried to scream, your voice muffled as a rough cloth was shoved into your mouth. Your muffled cries filled the room, but the men only tightened their grip. You kicked, twisted, and thrashed, but your strength was nothing compared to theirs. Tears blurred your vision, sliding down your cheeks. You pressed your face into the floor, wishing you could vanish, wishing you could erase yourself from the world. In moments, your arms were bound tightly in front of you. Your legs were secured so firmly you couldn't move them. You shook your head desperately, muttering pleas that went unheard. The men stepped back slightly, just enough to admire their work, their smirks never leaving their faces. Oh my, is that Yin? One of them hissed, leaning closer, his eyes scanning your tear-streaked face. There was a cruel curiosity in his gaze, a hunger that made your stomach twist. Yes, it's her, he repeated himself. Then the second one let out a loud, fake gasp, drawing out the words, oh Yin, that famous singer. Oh my God, ma'am, can we have an autograph? You couldn't stop it. Your sobs erupted. Your body shook on the cold floor as their laughter rang in your ears, sharp and cruel, bouncing off the walls. They were enjoying this, feeding off your fear. The first man's hand reached out, tilting your head roughly to the side. So bad, you're not even in the state to give an autograph, he whispered, his voice threatening. But don't worry, once we're done with why we're here, I promise, I'll open you. Your heart raced violently, panic climbing up your throat like fire. Your hands struggled against the ropes, fingers clawing at the coarse rope biting your wrists. The second man crouched closer to your legs, preventing you from moving, while the first one leaned over your shoulder, his warm breath against your ear sending chills down your spine. He pressed his lips to your neck, leaving marks with each movement. Each kiss was a cruel reminder of how powerless you were. You could feel his smirk against your skin, the slow, dangerous way he claimed space around you. They circled you like predators, their laughter and cruel whispers filling the room, as if savoring your fear was the only entertainment that mattered. Jungkook was sprawled across the couch, his limbs loose from exhaustion and the alcohol. The moment he had left the basement, his mind finally shut down, shutting out everything, the chaos, the screams, the fear he had caused. He didn't notice when his guards quietly slipped the keys from his pocket, careful not to wake him. His head lolled lazily to the side, and with a heavy thud, it hit the floor. His eyes shot open wide, his lips parting in a sharp gasp. Jungkook, he groaned, blinking rapidly as he tried to make sense of the spinning world around him. His body ached from the fall, but that wasn't what consumed his thoughts. Slowly, he pushed himself up with his hands, scratching at the back of his neck, his mind foggy but starting to clear. What am I doing here? He muttered, his voice laced with confusion. And then it hit him, the basement, the terrified girl. His eyes widened to their limits as the memory slammed into him like a thunderbolt, his stomach twisting painfully, like a knife had sunk deep inside him. Jungkook, did I really lock her in the basement? His mind was no longer clouded by alcohol. He was fully aware of his surroundings now. Jungkook, shit, he cursed, pacing frantically as the floor beneath him seemed to shrink. He could see her face in his head, pale, terrified, her small body trembling in the dark. The thought made his chest tighten, like a vice squeezing harder with every second he hesitated. I have to get to her now.